morning, Dennis.
Good evening, Mashi. I didn't realize you were going to do a call and response, but it's in the name, so I should have.
Hello. What am I saying? Good morning, good evening to myself. Oh man, I just woke up. I didn't just wake up. You're winding down your work day.
You're one of those like 6 a.m. lunatics, aren't you? You used to be.
Yeah, not anymore. Now it's like a solid 7:30, but slept in a bit because I drove out to Vegas today. Today I've got to shoot a bunch of promos actually for TikTok and whatnot for our upcoming streams. And then of course streaming WWE, WWF breaks. That's what my life is now.
The dream.
Yeah, it's actually a lot of fun. I get to do.
Hang on, is it like Attitude Era superstars or is it like modern stuff?
So it's modern stuff, but there are Attitude Era and Golden Age stuff. So I got my little riffs. Like every time you hit a Stone Cold, you hear, and that's the bottom line. Because you
don't got a stack of beer cans, like smash them on your head.
No, I do have a bunch of dollar bills, and if I pull them, Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, I will stick a dollar bill. I pull out your package with your name on it and stick a dollar bill in it.
That is a very cute detail.
It's a great time. I love, it's funny, you get away from your roots. I consider you a natural show person, I guess I should say. And I feel the same way about myself. And so while I'm streaming like 30 plus hours and it's a grind, it's a lot of fun. I have to admit there's times I'm very tired. And you go through all the education, undergrad, law school. I was a practicing attorney for so long. And then you get these stupid labels, director, C-suite. And I think a lot of times people start to think they can't do the things they did do. They can't go back in time. Oh, I'm getting a bunch of beeping. Is that you or me?
That's you.
What the heck is beeping?
I don't know. It sounds like an old school like watch alarm.
Oh, I know what it is. I know exactly what it is. The dogs are going to start barking.
Wait, what? What happened? You getting like a doorbell ring alert?
No. I was messing around with a Google timer for the stream, and it just started a stopwatch, a 5-minute stopwatch. So
that makes sense.
Anyway, I was just saying, like, one of the things I think as you advance and grow, you think, maybe you think some things are beneath you, or you've gone beyond certain things, or you shouldn't be doing certain things. And I implore everyone out there, especially when it keys into your passion and what you started with. I started with Magic TV, in 2008, little 15-minute shorts with Luis. And I loved it. And it was the highlight of my day. And then I miss it. I grow past it. And you think these things that you grew to love and that are part of this past on your growth journey are gone from you forever. But they're not. If you reach back, you can still find them. So
that's kind of why. That's part of why I wanted to do this. Like I used to do a lot of content, even when I worked with you at Channel Fireball. I did a lot more content, a lot more on camera stuff, and I don't anymore. And this was a way to now I have dragged it a little more into my adult life because we're doing like a business and lifestyle little live show, little podcast type deal, rather than goofing around doing a Magic the Gathering themed game show like I did so many years ago.
Check out Win Millionaire though; it is a lot of fun.
But it does scratch the same itch, I think. And I mean, there has to be some merit to like Kid Mashi opening a Stone Cold Steve Austin in your current body, right?
Well, no, I mean, Stone Cold's a little bit too. You're giving me.
That's me. I'm projecting. That's me.
For me, it's when I hit a Hogan or a Macho or a Macho.
Yeah.
Like that's my era, right? But it's more connecting with that part. I think, especially in business. It's like an escalator, and you're not. It's one way. You're not allowed to go back. And when you do, it's seen as a failure, or or it's like you can only do it on your terms, right? But I think tapping into those passions, those things that really got you to where you are, is so important.
That's seen a little bit because we started picking topics for a couple of shows we want to do, and I picked a bunch of quotes. So I picked a topic I wanted to talk about, and then I would find a quote that was about it, right? And they're usually from some historian or a writer or a poet or a business person or something. Whereas you, and we didn't really confer before we shared these, yours are all from basically nerdy stuff you like.
Pop culture. I went the other way. You found you got a topic and found the quote. I sat down and found quotes I love.
And tried to pull why and what that meant and how you
what
related.
It spoke to me and why it did. I wanted to talk to you today, Dennis, about manifesting.
Okay.
That's a big buzzword right now. I feel like I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm a Tony Robbins guy, but and that manifesting is part of that. Like speak it into existence, think it into existence, will it into existence. But even now, I'm not joking. One of my fantasy football podcasts, they start talking about we're going to manifest a great week for Kyle Pitts, and it's something. And I know there's that trick in your mind where once something's in your brain, you start to hear it and see it everywhere. Like, oh my God, it's everywhere.
That's called the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon.
I didn't even see. That's why you're on here. I didn't even know there was a name. I should have a name for every phenomenon. So,
well, now that I've told you it, you're going to see that specifically a bunch. Just
exactly. Now I'll know. Now I'll see it everywhere. What's your take on manifesting things?
I think doing it for yourself, and I don't mean even like a positive affirmations thing. I think we are shaped a lot by the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves and about the world around us. So if you repeat something, especially even if you repeat something jokingly or in jest or saying, "Oh, I don't really mean it," it does seep into your subconscious. So saying, "I'm going to have a good day. I'm going to try hard today. I'm going to be better than I was yesterday," or whatever in the mirror in the morning, or even just saying it in your head is corny. But that does work. And I think there's like studies that show that those kind of mantras and things do work. And I think that's how I bring manifesting in. Manifesting that somebody else is going to score more touchdowns. I don't know.
That's a little bit weird. I do think mantras are important, and manifesting does work that way. I am beautiful. I attract beauty. Right. I am great. I attract greatness. I am abundant. I attract abundance. So these are all corny things to our kind of modern mindset, but they do work. Please try them. Don't dismiss it. But my favorite, and I didn't think about it until I really dug deep. Manifesting has been part of my life since my childhood. And that brings this quote to mind. It's Yoda, it's Dagobah, it's Luke raising his X-Wing from the swamp, or attempting to. Do or do not. There is no try.
Now, when you brought this up beforehand, I said I fundamentally disagree with that.
But I think it is when I think of how I read that quote, how I feel that quote, how I hear that quote, to me now in the modern years, and this isn't like, Mashi circa 1984 or whatever. This is, Mashi circa 2022. It is all about manifesting. Do or do not. There is no try.
So is that a thing of like you by framing something like that, are you trying to, so if you think I'm going to try and do this, do you think you're introducing failure too early in the process?
It's not about introducing failure. It's not about introducing failure too early in the process. There's never an introduction of failure in the process. Mm-hmm. There's never an introduction of failure in the process. And I want to suggest to you why I believe that type of manifestation is key. Manifestation, one man's opinion, right? Always take it with a grain of salt. I believe fundamentally is about happiness. We manifest the things, or we go into a mode of manifestation for those things that we believe will make us happy. When you focus on manifesting, and by the way, I believe that statement so wholeheartedly. I don't believe that things like, well, I want to manifest the death of Dennis Stranyak, and that's what I'm going to manifest every day. That shit's not going to cut. That's not going to work. Okay? Manifesting fundamentally is about improving your life. Manifest the positivity, the goals you have. But when you enter that mindset, you will achieve. Whether you get that Porsche that you've been pining for or not specifically, what I think you're keen to when you go into a manifestation, do or do not get that Porsche, or don't get that Porsche. Don't try to get that Porsche, right? What you're fundamentally doing is saying, I want this for happiness. Mm-hmm. And I think that when you start to approach the world that way and manifesting that way, you'll become more happy. And in that way, it is self-serving. You are building your happiness. You are investing in yourself. And at its roots, if what you're trying to manifest is more happiness for yourself, simply by engaging in the act, you are becoming more happy, and therefore it's working for you.
Do you think though that sort of binary approach, do or do not? I feel so silly, Cody Yoda, but do or do not, there is no try. And look, I shouldn't feel silly. There's plenty of wisdom in things that have lightsabers in them, and there's plenty of wisdom, and there's plenty of nonsense in things that happen in boardrooms. So let's not pretend that's unreasonable. Do you think that stifles iteration, or because basically that's trying to remove? That's almost like a failure is not an option type of mentality, as opposed to the other side of that coin is to try and embrace failure as an opportunity for learning and iteration. And I think that is kind of baked in to do or do not. There is no try, because if you tried something and failed, you're either going to continue trying and do it eventually or not, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that that there's a way that you can look at things from different perspectives, from the going into a perspective and from the rear view window, right? And so I think this idea of embracing failure and what lessons can we learn from it, and how do we grow? What do we interact with there? That's the rear view mirror. Going into an endeavor, manifesting something like, I want to, think about this dialogue in your head. I want to try to get to 7 figures by the end of 2023. I will get to 7 figures by the end of 2023. I must get to 7 figures by the end of 2023. I want to buy a home. I'd like to buy a home. I'd like to buy a home by the end of 2023. I will buy a home by the end of 2023. I must buy. I mean, the difference in mindset.
I do think I will is actually stronger than I must, by the way. It's a very small distinction.
I think you're picking your poison there.
Maybe.
The thing is, I like I will better as well. I must is a counter to I should. Because I should is just as weak as I should try. I should is trying, right? I will is doing. But when you mandate, when you manifest things, you're creating a mandate internally. You are doing. It must be do or do not. There is no try. There's no room in manifestation for trying. Only doing.
How do you interact with setbacks or potential failures in that mentality? That if you hit speed bumps, are you just lengthening the roadmap for when you intended to achieve your goal? Does 2023 become 2024? Like, January 1st, 2024. Did you fail, or is your new mantra, I will buy a home in 2024?
No, I think you have to, it's not like get your head down, you're a bull in the china shop. There's no stopping, right?
Right.
That is an unwise course of action no matter what. And that's not how doing works. You must interact with the real world. You have to interact with speed bumps. And some speed bumps will say, hey, this is going to put a pin in it. But I think that has to be the very last course of action. Mm-hmm. Every time you hit a speed bump, there's an opportunity to pivot. There is. Find the pivots. We, as people, I do think that we are hardwired in a lot of ways as a survival instinct, not as a bad thing. People are as a survival instinct to, when we hit things, pivot and stare into the darkness, stare into the failure, stare into the mistake, not say what opportunity is open. And oftentimes we stare into where things are going wrong, where the accident is, where the car crash is, and there is a crack, there is a seam somewhere. That kind of the trite saying is when God closes the door.
Yeah, he opens a window.
Something like that, right? There is a lot in that though, because every unforeseen circumstance creates an opportunity. It does. Sometimes it's bad. I've gone through the last year of my life has been insane, just business wise.
Yep.
There've been mergers. There's been working with different companies and teams across Brazil and New Zealand and the headaches that causes. There's been sales that have been great. And times when I have asked myself and asked you as we were on the same team working together, holy crap, was this the biggest mistake ever? To now going, oh my God, we made this sale. What a great opportunity for us. Like, you never would have said that. You never would have thought that those things were going to happen in the moment, at the time.
Well, there's a butterfly effect kind of thing to where good things can come from bad things, and you can learn good things from bad things happening to you, right? And I think
there's no can there.
Sure.
When bad things happen, and I don't want to gild the lily on that. Bad things happen, and they are awful. Mm-hmm. We all have been hurt emotionally, financially, professionally, personally. And I got bad news for anyone who thinks that's over in their lives. It ain't. It's going to happen again. Okay. Every one of those experiences, as I recount them in my mind now, very quickly, right? I've lived a long life. I can see the learning moments. I can see where I grew as a person, as a business person, as an attorney, as a marketing person, as a boyfriend, a husband, a son, a brother, whatever it is, right? I see those moments, and they exist at the time. I'm not going to say I saw them at the time. I didn't, but they're there. They're always there. And I know now, no matter when I approach those things, they're there. We're far afield from manifesting at this point.
Yeah, we've gone through trap. I think I listen to the Pete Holmes podcast a lot, which I'd recommend because it's not about comedy basically at all. But what he does a lot in his show is that if someone starts talking about something and it takes them off the original point, he's like, "We're putting irons in the fire, right? We'll take them all out before we put the fire out, or we're putting them in now. Let's not worry about what's already in there." And I think what you said there is true. And I'm sure there'll come a time when we talk about, reflection or journaling or reviewing and things like that, and trying to take the time to, because I don't do enough of that in my life. I don't think.
I already have the quote we can do for that.
That's true.
I already have the quote. I already have it. See?
This is an opportunity to do that as well. Taking a little bit of time each day, and hopefully, if you're watching this, you can come join us at 9 a.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. GMT. We're going to live stream on LinkedIn. I think I'm going to post it to YouTube and stuff too. I'll deal with that later. But just to take a little bit of time to think about, what you did today, what you're going to do today, and a topic. And in this case, Mashi's choice of manifesting and how that lets you either change the way you view your life and go about it, or lift an X-wing. Your mileage may vary, I guess.
I mean, look, here's the important thing. When I look back on my life, and I look back at the times, because I am still a stand for Star Wars and Doctor. I'm a big geek, you know that. I work in the gaming industry. I used to collect baseball cards. I used to beg my stepfather or my mother to buy me baseball cards. I rip, $50, $500,000 boxes of football cards. I work in the Magic industry, a game that I've played since my youth. When I look back on the extraordinary, and I think one of the things we want to do as humans is ascribe a lot of it to luck. No doubt. When people ask me, I say, I was born under a blessed star. I've had so much luck in my life. I've been tremendously lucky, and I'm grateful for that. But I also want to suggest to everybody that there's a way that you manifest that you stay focused on things, that you will things into existence. Not that they don't come out, they're not cut from the ether. But when you focus on those things, when it is do or do not, there is no try. In the gaming world, in the sports card world, in the legal world, whatever world you're in, similar to this idea that we started with, this whatever, I forgot the name of the effect, the manifesting, and now I hear it.
Powder mine off.
You will hear those opportunities in your brain because you're so focused on do or do not, there is no try. Manifesting this, sports cards, magic, attorney gigs, entertainment law, whatever it is, and you will start to hear them in your discourse, in your life. See them here on LinkedIn, see them on Facebook, hear it in conversation with your friends. It's not an accident because it's present in your brain.
I remember watching Colin Moriarty, who's a YouTuber in the video game space and a content creator who I used to be a fan of and don't particularly agree with him on a lot of the things he says. Not an endorsement of Colin, putting that right out there. But he said when he was trying to get working at IGN, all he was waiting for was for them to crack the door open so he could boot it off the hinges. And I think having that mentality is important, and having be looking for those opportunities is something you can say to yourself every day. All
right, so pick something to manifest now, Dennis.
I'm going to manifest that we try to do this once every weekday.
We'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow. That's an easy one.
That's true.
We won't be back on Friday, so you're not getting out of the park now.
What would I like?
You don't have to manifest a specific thing. Just tell me. I've already told you mine. My examples were mine every day. I am great. I attract greatness. I am abundant. I attract abundance. I am beautiful. I attract beauty. I think these are things that the dialogues we need to say to ourselves. And there's dialogues I'm unpacking about myself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I'm a procrastinator. I'm trying to wire that one out. Oh God, I'm always running late. Mashi's always running late, right, Dennis?
Mashi's always late. Mashi standard time.
So now it's like, I'm on time. I don't procrastinate. And you know where that hits me the most? I pick up that phone and I'm doing this. I'm not procrastinating. I open TikTok and I go, I don't procrastinate, and I close TikTok. That's where it hits the most, baby. That is absolutely where it hits the most.
I think something that I'd like to try manifest, and we can check in on this in a week or two.
What did you just say? You'd like to what?
I think something I will manifest.
Okay.
I'm learning. I'm novice. I don't think I'm very good at looking around myself. I'm very focused on looking forward at the next thing, and I'm very, very bad at being grateful for the things I've accomplished and things that have going on in my life right now. I'm a very N+1 kind of person, which, I mean, in my role and work, that makes a lot of sense. But in my personal life, even, I'm not very good at looking at the things I have around me and taking stock of them. So it might be I am grateful. It might be I am present. I'm struggling with presence of mind lately. So those are things that I think would make sense.
Being present is super important. I have a tree outside on the deck of my loft. I go out there. I look at the same tree every morning. I just stare at it. I love it. It's a beautiful tree. Maybe I'll send a picture to you. Every night before bed, I go out on the deck. I look at that tree. And I love it. It's a great way to start my day. It's a great way to end my day. I'm not even thinking about anything specific. I just like to go out there and check on that tree.
Well, hopefully this has been a great way to end my day and a great way to start yours.
Well, Dennis, have a good evening.
Have a good morning.
Until next time.